What's going on, world? And welcome to Clearing the Wreckage Podcast. It's the voice and your host, Kareem A. Rashid. And once again, I don't know what you got going on. You could be getting on the toilet, or you could be getting off the toilet. Hell, for all I know, you could be wiping your tushy. But I know that I'm ready. And so I hope that you're ready to clear the wreckage. Yes, indeed. What's going on with you today, my friends, my peeps, my fellow Wreckage Clearers? What's happening with you? Man, I just want to say thank you so much for being alongside of me on this journey. Thank you for accepting my invitation to walk alongside of me 62 episodes ago, 62 conversations ago. Wow. That's all I can say. I'm just really, really thankful and grateful that you are here with me every single week. Man, some of you probably are with me more than just one time throughout the week. Maybe you have to listen to a conversation again throughout the week. And for that, I'm just really thankful. And I want to say this. Share this with someone. Go ahead and give them that love that we've been talking about for the last few episodes. And extend it to somebody. And say, hey, have you listened to this podcast, Clearing the Wreckage? You should listen to it, because I'm going to tell you one thing. Without you sharing this episode, this podcast will never grow. No one will know about Clearing the Wreckage. And I am in the business of self-improvement, becoming the best version of myself, a better version of myself today. And I know that if you are listening to me on a weekly basis, that you are about the same thing. You are at least trying to better yourself, improve yourself. So, therefore, share it with someone that you know that is about that life, basically, right? Share it with someone. So that is all I ask for you to do. And I know I don't really say that much, when I get together with you. I don't convey that as much. But I'm conveying it today. I ask that you do that for me, please. Today, I want to talk about a genuine love. And the reason I kind of want to talk about this, honestly, I had a hard time, which I'm just going to go ahead and have some honest time with you. I think I might even start doing that at the beginning of each conversation that we have. Honest time with Kareem. Maybe we call it that. Honest time with Kareem. Maybe we put a little jingle in there or something. I have had a difficult couple of weeks. I've had a difficult couple of weeks, and it hasn't really been difficult, physically or anything like that, but more psychologically, more mentally, more emotionally, just draining type of week. There's stuff going on in my family. There's things that are happening around me that I'm kind of allowed to not necessarily affect me to the point of where I'm in despair or depression or discouragement or anything like that, but just my mind is absorbed with these thoughts. And it's not bad thoughts. It's just the thoughts of the people. It's a genuine thought process. It's a genuine love. And I'm just concerned. I'm concerned, and I'm not just concerned about myself, but for this other person that is in my family. I'm concerned about the situation that happened. And a few weeks before that, another situation that happened. And it just brought about a concern. It brought about this intense concern. Not necessarily just I'm concerned, but an intense one And so those are the things that have been going through my head. And to be honest with you, honest time again, I really just didn't have my mind set on this podcast episode. I kind of didn't. I just was like, I was thinking about those other things. And so with that being said, today I want to talk about a genuine love. I just wanted to share that with you so you can know. That's kind of what I've been going through here lately. That's kind of what's been on my mind. It's kind of, subsiding now. But I have a heart of compassion now. I have a heart of empathy now for others, especially when it comes to a family member. So I asked you last week, I said, hey, I want you to think about somebody in your life that gives you genuine love. I mean, the type of love where you just know that you are loved. When you are around this person, you know that you are loved. I'm not talking about just because they say I love you, but from all of their actions, you know that you are loved. You feel safe, you feel secure, you feel like you can be yourself around this person. They're not going to judge you for who you are. They love and accept you for who you are. So I asked you to think about that, and I asked you to think about how that love affects you, how that love has an impact on you. I'm hoping that that love changes you, that love has you feeling some type of way, and not a bad way, but feeling in some type of way like, man, I just love being around this person. This person adores me. This person expects nothing in return from me. They love being with me. They love being around me. And I don't know who that person is for you. It could be your mother. It could be your father. It could be one of your siblings. And it could be your spouse. It could be your wife. It could be your husband. It could be your girlfriend. It could be your boyfriend. I don't know. It could be a friend. I don't know who this person is for you. But I tell you what a blessing it is to have someone in your life that is giving you a genuine love, that agape love that we talked about last week. It makes you feel all gooey on the inside. Ooh. So let's do kind of a deep dive. I did like a little deep dive on my own. It just I wanted to give you, what I wanted to do today was give you something practical, something that you can hold on to, that you can grasp onto and say, man, this is what it is like. This is what is going on inside of me when I am on the receiving end of genuine love. Because, I can sit up there and be like, oh, well, that person, loves me genuinely. This is how I feel. But what is going on inside of me? What's happening in my brain? What's happening psychologically? What's happening biologically? What's happening emotionally? I wanted to give you that so that you can have that to hold on to. And so that you can know that you are blessed to have someone like that in your life. So first, we'll dive into the biological impact real quick, okay? And believe it or not, when you feel truly loved and accepted, your brain undergoes significant chemical shifts. That first significant shift that it undergoes is the brain's reward center, specifically the VTA, which is the ventral tegmental area of your brain. Also, the nucleus accumbens floods with dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical that it floods with, and this creates a sense of euphoria, high energy, and an intense motivation to maintain that connection. So there is a release of dopamine in that area of your brain, and what it does is it makes you want more of that. So, when you're in love with someone, We're talking relationships here with your spouse or your significant other. You want to be around that person more and more, especially when you are beginning in the beginning stages, that honeymoon phase. That's not all the way a genuine love. That's just that infatuation stage. That's that, oh, I can't get enough of you phase. But when it turns into that genuity, that genuine agape love, that person becomes your best friend. That is the person that you know that you can just be yourself around. They're not judging you. Love does set boundaries, so they may be setting some boundaries with you. That genuine love does set some boundaries, some healthy ones, and they may, not, want to be treated in a certain way. They may call you out or hold you accountable of your behavior because that is a genuine love, because that is what they are doing for themselves. Remember, you must love yourself first in order to pass that love along. So also it releases oxytocin and vasopressin, and these chemicals are known as the bonding hormones. You can guess what these are released during. Let's get dirty. I'm just kidding. But these are released during those moments of physical affection or that deep emotional intimacy. They're released during sex. Also, that's kind of what we're getting at here. But it's not always about sex that is released in. It's just that physical affection. Those hugs, those touches. If your partner's love language is physical touch, this is what they are receiving when you give that to them. That oxytocin and that vasopressin. They're receiving these chemicals, and these chemicals promote trust. It lowers the social anxiety, and they are critical for long-term attachment. In other words, it creates that safe, secure feeling, that sense of, man, I can be myself with this person. They love me exactly for who I am. There is also a reduction of cortisol happening. Cortisol, if you don't know what that is the stress hormone. So genuine love kind of acts as a biological buffer against stress, right? There's also the psychological and the emotional effects, such as the emotional security. We kind of touched on this just a little bit, but genuine love kind of creates that emotional sanctuary. I am loved and I am accepted for who I am. And then that allows you to be vulnerable without the fear of judgment. It also reduces defensiveness. When love feels safe, when you're receiving genuine love, the amygdala becomes less active. If you're not familiar with the amygdala is like the brain's fear center. For example, is that part in your brain where you think about the worst case scenario? Oh no, this is going to happen if I say this. Oh, they're going to react this way if I say this. So in turn, right, this love should quiet that internal battle mode. It should quiet that initial, oh no, I shouldn't say this because they're going to get defensive. They're going to react in this way. So it makes you less reactive and more open-minded in conflict. It also enhances your cognitive function. Isn't that something? That genuine love, that secure love, it activates the brain regions like the angular gyrus, which is linked to complex language and creativity. So basically, this sort of mental workout can keep your brain sharp as you age. And, of course, as I've stated before to you, it improves your self-worth and your growth. Receiving that genuine love reinforces your inherent value. Let's stop right there and pause. Your inherent value is what? Your inherent value is good. You are good. You are enough. But again, you have to give yourself this self-compassion, this love, in order to realize that about yourself and to grow in self-worth. And then when you're receiving it, when you're on that receiving end of it, right, this should empower you to take risks and pursue your personal goals, because you're no longer being defined by your achievements or external validation, because you're giving it to yourself. So basically what it does is just reinforces who you are. Just reinforces who you are. And so you're excited to be around this person, because this person is matching what you are. They're matching what you are. That reflection, once again, as we talked about last week. Believe it or not, it also has physical health benefits. I know. Some of you probably are like, what? Love has health? Yeah. Genuine love supports the immune system, like that physical touch or that hugging. It increases the production of antibodies, and it improves your overall immune response. Right? And so genuine love, you shouldn't also be having high blood pressure, because it actually reduces your blood pressure. It lowers it. Why? Because you feel safe around this person. You feel secure around this person. So your heart rate isn't elevated. Your pulse is at the regular BPM, beats per minute, around this person, because they make you feel good. Dopamine is that feel-good chemical also. Then you're receiving that oxytocin, that vasopressin. And this is all just reinforcing who you are, because you're already giving this to yourself. So not only are you on the receiving end of genuine love from another person, but you're on the receiving end of genuine love for yourself. It's a mirror, it's a reflection, it's all of that. Now, so we talked about being on the receiving end of genuine love. Let's talk about how it is from the point of view of where maybe there's a lack of genuine love there for yourself. So now, I did not have any of the genuine love kind of growing up. But we're going to talk about, and the reason I say that is why. Because I have shared that with you. I've shared my wreckage with you, and how I was in constant search for that external validation, and how it caused a very low self-worth, low self-esteem. Now, this is not to blame anyone. This were just the results that I experienced. So now, let's look at this as a whole when you lack genuine love for yourself, and how it affects others, right? How it creates this psychological ripple effect, and it alters how you connect with, how you trust, and how you support the people around you. A lack of genuine love for self often shifts the responsibility for your emotional stability onto others. Here we go. I'm talking about me. Before I was able to love myself, this was me. I've already shared a lot of this wreckage with you already on previous conversations and episodes. But here's what I used to do, and here is what you are doing if you are still lacking that genuine love for yourself. You are constantly seeking validation. I just talked about this last week. You're constantly seeking validation. Without that internal source of worth or love for yourself, you may rely heavily on your friends, heavily on your partners, heavily on society or whomever comes your way for constant reassurance. That is why when we are younger, there's this thing called peer pressure, right? Some of us fall for the peer pressure. And then there's some of us, you look around and you're like, wow, they don't even fall for the peer pressure. But if you were like me, that lacked that love, I lacked that love, that genuine love growing up. So I was in constant search for it, for anyone, from anyone, I should say. All right? So I was looking for that constant reassurance, and this can become emotionally draining for other people. It's just emotionally draining because they feel that they must refill your confidence or reassure you on a day-to-day basis. There's also this kind of sort of manipulation tactic or indirect support seeking, where instead of asking simply for what you need, you may resort to sulking, whining, or even displaying sadness to elicit care. Raise your hand if you've done that. I have done that before. So I'm giving you pretty much the experience of how it was for me before I started loving myself genuinely. There's also that emotional fragility. This is what I had as well. Low self-esteem, right? Where you may be hypersensitive to feedback. Anybody says something to you, it may just be a suggestion. It may not even be that bad. They're just making a suggestion, and you will react to that. Hypersensitive to feedback. Very sensitive. Then, so what happens is others may feel that they have to walk on eggshells to avoid inadvertently triggering a defense or a hurt reaction from you. This was me before I was giving myself that genuine love. Your internal self-critique or self-critic often acts as a lens that distorts how you see others' intentions. You begin to not see the good in people. You begin to see that the bad. All you can see is the negative because you are constantly critiquing yourself with this negative self-talk. So then it becomes a mirror. It becomes what you are giving yourself becomes what you're going to kind of see in other people. So basically what this means is that you may misinterpret ambiguous cues, such as a partner being quiet. You may look at that as a sign of rejection or a sign of declining affection. And then this can lead to unnecessary conflict or preemptive hostility as a defensive mechanism. I'll give you another example. The way somebody is talking could trigger that stuff in you. It could and cause unnecessary conflict. The person just may have a inflated tone or a inflection in their tone a little bit. And because you're hypersensitive, not only because of that, but because your self-critic is always telling you how horrible of a person you are, you begin to assume that this person is telling you how horrible of a person that you are. And they're not doing that at all. So you begin to have this preemptive strike. Before the person even starts saying something to you, you're already guarded. You already have your defenses up. Does that make sense? So raise your hand if you're like that. I'm not like that anymore. There are sometimes I still struggle with that for sure, and I'm still clearing the wreckage on that. But, I've grown immensely in that area. Now, also, it is very difficult to offer a level of respect or kindness or love to others if you don't offer that to yourself. Simple. It's simple. This is so simple, right? If you view yourself with self-hatred, and you may struggle to believe that you are unworthy, then you are going to look at others as unworthy. It's this mirror that's going on again. So again, as I said, we are mere reflections. All right, so you may think, man, I'm unworthy of a genuine love. Or you may even begin to treat them with the similar disdain that you already treat yourself with. So the lack of genuine love for yourself affects your ability to even also accept love. Now, I had this problem a lot. I'm just going to be honest with you. I had this problem a lot, and and one of the reasons why, and I'm going to just share a little background with you, and you already know this. That growing up, I was not told I love you. You know, no one said that to me growing up. Not no one. And I know I emphasized this before to you, and I've shared this to you. As a child, no one said that to me. Also, as a child, I did not receive any physical affection. I'm not saying that my siblings didn't play with me or anything like that. They did, but from the parental figures, you know? And so I'm not used to people hugging me or embracing me. Now, you know, it's funny story, because I was decided to go to church yesterday. I'm visiting a different church, and it's lovely, and I love the people there, and I love the message. Anyway, I go there, and I give this hug to one of the young ladies that I know. And then this other young lady, I'm not saying their names for a reason. This other young lady came over, and she was like, I want me a Kareem hug. And people now, this is how immensely I have changed. This is the self-worth. This is the growth that I'm talking about, that I am sharing with you. This is how much I've changed. For someone to come over and say, I want me a Kareem hug, and people say to me now, man, you hug so tightly. You hug so, and I don't even know that I do that, but that's what they say. In other words, my embraces are genuine because I embrace myself genuinely with that love. So I give it to other people, right? But let's go on with that. Let's dive a little bit deeper in how it affects your ability to accept love. When someone offers you genuine affection, it may feel familiar or suspicious. You might even doubt, their judgment. Why would someone like me? Why does this person want to be around me? Maybe saying those things. Remember in one of my conversations with you earlier, I used to say that. I don't say that anymore. Or you may even push them away to protect yourself from the perceived inevitable abandonment, which was me back in the day, before I began to kind of clear the wreckage and give myself that self-love and that genuine love. You may also have inauthentic interactions with people. So here's the pretend game, the pretend that I was sharing about with you. This is me. All right, so you'll have that with others, and to gain that approval, you may engage in that extreme people-pleasing. You may even become a chameleon. You may just be part of the circus, doggone it. Hey, man, whatever you want me to do, you want me to become a trapeze artist? I'll jump from here to here. Want me to put on this makeup and, wear clown shoes? I'll do it. So, and that was me, an extreme people pleaser, because I needed everyone's approval. And so what happens is, in people pleasing, you begin to suppress your own thoughts, your own needs, which then prevents the other person from actually knowing who you really are. So you're pretending, and other people don't really know the real you. And in a relationship, this type of performing, all it leads to is resentment rather than a genuine connection. So this person cannot get to know you, the real you, because you're just a circus clown. Like me. That was me. I was a great pretender. I was a great actor. I mean, Grammys. No, I'm sorry. Academy Awards, Oscars, should have been mine. The star leading role goes to Kareem. I mean, that is how I used to be. Because I had no love for myself, people. So the reason I wanted to go over these examples with you, go over this evidence, so to speak, research, so to speak, so you can have this to grabs onto. Right? And so that this can kind of be something that you can kind of weigh. You can go, okay, I'm on the receiving end of genuine love, man. This is how it feels. This is what it gives me. These are the benefits of it. And when I lack that genuine love for myself, this is the ripple effect that I begin to have on other people. I'm sharing this with you to get you to kind of think a little bit more about how important it is for you to love yourself genuinely. That is why we are talking about love this much. Because I did not know, my friends, how important it was for me to love myself, how important it was for me to get to know myself so that I can love myself. And I believe that in order to love yourself, you must get to know yourself. And some of us are afraid of that. Some of us are afraid of our own thoughts. Some of us are even afraid of our own feelings, afraid of our own emotions, afraid to cry, afraid to be a certain way, afraid to be ourselves because we don't know who we are. So that first step in healing, I believe, is learning about yourself. And that is what I did. I've shared the process with you, part of the process at least. But remember, this is a process ongoing throughout life's journey. This is not a destination. I have not graduated magna cum laude in life. Life is a process, but it is also a process of growth, a process of evolution. Or if you just want to stay stagnant and not grow and then have this sort of ripple effect on everyone you come in contact with, this damaging, let me put that in front of it, this damaging burden on people ripple effect, then so be it. But if you're part of this community, I know for sure that you don't want to have that effect. You want to be giving that genuine love because you want people, right, to experience that release of dopamine, that release of oxytocin and vasopressin. You want to give them those things because that is what you're giving yourself. So it becomes automatic. Now, do you catch my drift, what I'm saying? It becomes automatic. It is a natural response, a natural reflex is the word I was trying to use. It's your default behavior. You just go around loving people because you love yourself. I want to share an example with you, and this is not, I will say this right now, this is not to accredit myself at all. I'm just sharing with you something that happened to me recently. I was delivering food, because I deliver food here and there, odd job. Anyway, and I was walking out of the place. It was to this apartment building or some sort like that. And there was furniture and things like that out and about, up for the taking, basically. And I walked out of there and I was like, man, you know what? It'd be nice to grab something from here that's, just available for the taking, right? And when I was there, I saw this young lady standing over there. So I asked her, I said, are you thinking about grabbing that? And she was like, yeah, actually I am. And I said, oh, okay. And she began to say, well, this is what I want and this is what I want. And I said, all right, well, cool. I said, I was thinking about actually grabbing that myself, but I realized, I don't have a truck and I'm probably not going to be able to put that into my car. So it's all good, definitely, for sure. I said, well, do you need some help? Because I'm definitely here to assist. She said, yeah, sure, but my truck is parked up there. I was like, yeah, well, just go get your truck. I'll put it in here. And I just did that. You know what? I did not expect anything in return. I did that for her. And the reason I did it for her is because I already love myself, and I just want to extend that to other people. Remember, how can I serve? How can I help? How can I be of assistance? How can I love? Those, my friends, are now the questions that I ask myself. And I guarantee you that woman, now I wasn't looking for anything in return. I didn't ask her for money afterwards. She brought a truck over before she even got out of the car. I dropped down the tailgate. I lifted up the dresser and I put it in her thing. And I put the tailgate back up and I walked to my car. I said, all right, have a great day. I didn't need anything from her. Nothing. Are you displaying that type of love? Well, you're able to display that type of love and give that type of love out when you are only loving yourself like that. And I know for sure you would want somebody to do that for you. And that is the type of love that we're talking about, these reflections, this mirror that we're trying to, every one of us as humans are reflections. That's all that we are, walking around here. A bunch of shadows. I shared that before. So again, let me reiterate to you and convey to you, without that genuine love, that genuine self-love for yourself, it's going to be so much harder also for you to set those healthy boundaries. Like, you're not going to be able to say no to anybody. You're going to continue to people please. You're going to continue to let people walk all over you. And that's going to lead to a codependent dynamic, and then also resulting in resentment, because you're going to be angry at everybody. Because you're just going to constantly be doing things for people over and over and over again, suppressing your own needs and your own thoughts, and you're not going to get anything in return. Because these people are people that are users, because they don't love themselves either. Because this is what a low self-worth and a lack of genuine love does. It makes you an easy target for unhealthy individuals. So those individuals that are unhealthy, that aren't practicing that genuine love on themselves, tend to pick up on that. They tend to pick up on it. I don't know why, but it's kind of like that. You ever notice that? They tend to pick up on, I can manipulate this person very easily because this person doesn't know that they actually deserve better treatment. You don't know it because you don't have that self-worth. You have low self-worth, and you're not giving yourself that genuine love. So ultimately, to end this, people tend to mirror the value that you set for yourself. So in a nutshell is what I basically was saying. So when you practice self-compassion, when you practice that self-genuine love for yourself, it's going to signal to others how to treat you, right? No, I can't treat this person like this. This person, it's going to signal to them how to treat you. They're going to try to give you the same type of treatment that you are giving for yourself, right? And then it also signals them to be compassionate with themselves as well. So that's really all I have for you today. I just kind of wanted to give you, again, something to grab onto, something to hold on to, so that you can just have this, definition. And not really even a definition, but just this example, this research of knowing like, hey, this is a genuine love and this is not a genuine love, right? And the reason why I wanted to talk about that lack of genuine love for yourself rather than receiving a lack of genuine love from someone else is because we got to love ourselves first in order to give that to someone else. We can't be expecting that from other people if we are not giving that to ourselves. We can't be expecting it. We can't walk around here expecting people to genuinely love us when we don't genuinely love ourselves at all. So that is all I have for you today. Next week, we're going to kind of go a little bit deeper into this. I think next week, this is what I think. I don't know for sure. This is what is on my mind. Don't quote me. And don't even hold me to it. But this is what I think. We're going to kind of talk about that divine love. That type of love that holds all of this together, that brings all of this together in unison, in unity, that makes all of this possible. So with that, I'll leave you how I always leave you. Take some time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. Peace.